It was bound to be a road of twists and turns.
Everybody hold on tight. There's going to be some heavy turbulence along the way.
After all, that's what it was all about. To inject intrigue into the mix, to add drama, give it all a bit of spice. And we had intrigue, no question.
I've been a racing driver myself, so every trick they would do, I would do as well.
And drama, without doubt.
It takes a lot of confidence away from you when you brake and the car doesn't stop.
And plenty of spice, all right.
A centimetre at times between us.
Who could tame the beast? Friends at first, rivals to the last.
You need to question whether they were ever friends.
I apologized for that to everybody.
Oh, what became of them along the way?
This guy's car never stops.
This is what racing drivers do in this high level of competition.
So here we are, and here they are.
It doesn't stop, does it?
Welcome to Formula One.
Well, here we are in Abu Dhabi, the day after what was an incredible title-deciding weekend. And you couldn't have scripted this season, could you? The changing rules, technical regulations, new power units, a change of the guard. And I suppose, really, some of the clues were in winter testing, David.
Well, I was shocked. You know, we knew the new generation of engines were coming into play, these hybrid, turbocharged wonders that is this the new technology in Formula One. But the first test, we were a week in. You know, the world champions from the last 4 seasons hadn't done any more than a 20-lap run.
Well, we didn't do any. That was the biggest problem. I mean, we turned up first test, and I think we did 2 laps with either the car sitting on fire or, you know, the engine just wouldn't run properly.
We did an installation lap and, yeah, didn't come back. Once we were ready to more or less get going again in the afternoon, we had a mechanical failure, and which didn't allow us to go out again.
As you can see, all the Renault teams were struggling getting the combustion engine, the energy recovery system and the turbo all working in harmony, and I think that those tests just came too soon for Renault with where they were at that point in time. It was disastrous. We did 1,500 kilometres of testing compared to Mercedes 9,000.
That was one of the most exciting times in my career because it was these new regulations, you know, and we've put so much hope into this as a team.
I mean, our team was massively excited because they knew how, you know, you don't know how everyone else has done, but we knew that we had done a solid job.
With the days going by, you'd see the lap times of other people, and we knew how much fuel we had, so we definitely grew quite confident quickly, yes.
But there was a lot of effort behind it. When we fired up the engine the first time, it was a day in December. The whole group of engineers were there, and mechanics and management, and the engine wouldn't fire up, and it wouldn't fire up, and it wouldn't fire up, and then finally, at the end of the day, at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, it fired up on 1 cylinder. And there was such a wave of enjoyment. Our goal was to get out of the garage at 9 o'clock in the morning on the first day of testing. We knew every single day where we are going to do mileage and do laps is going to be an advantage, difficult to catch up for the others.
Going to Australia, we were heading into the unknown. We got a car that hadn't done more than 10 successive laps. Our expectation was if we got into Q2, that'd be a result, and if we got to half distance in the race, it would be even bigger results.
Ricciardo's on the intermediate tyre. Has he got the grip he needs to try and challenge those Mercedes? The checker flag is waving on this session. Rosberg, Hamilton, Ricciardo, the order at the moment. Can he get amongst them? Oh, he's gone fastest! And the cheer from the grandstand, just amazing.
Less than half a 10.
Here's Hamilton, he might take it back again. Yes, he's done it. Lewis Hamilton has gone and taken pole position for Mercedes. Ricciardo, though, will have his first ever front row start at his home event. A new era of Formula One is about to power its way into the history books.
It's Formula One, Ben, but just not as we know it.
Lights out, away we go. Who's off the line? They all seem to bog down, but Rosberg cuts through. It's Rosberg who leads. Hamilton trying to defend, but no, he's lost second. Ricciardo second.
We need to retire, we need to save the engine, we need to save the engine.
Well, that's desperate news for Lewis Hamilton, having to retire already in the very early stages of the Australian Grand Prix, and this is desperate for Lewis Hamilton, David.
Well, not what they were hoping for. He had a great qualifying yesterday, but it just shows off the back of a very positive winter testing. This new technology is so fresh.
It wasn't easy. We've done all this work through winter, all the winter training, and then, geez, I didn't even get to see past even the first pit stop or anything like that, and which is difficult.
Nico Rosberg wins the Australian Grand Prix for Mercedes.
Yes! Come on, guys, brilliant stuff. What a car you've given me. What a car, unbelievable.
It was really a very special moment, you know, to start this new era in Formula One, this hybrid era, winning in the Silver Arrow for me, great.
Daniel Ricciardo exits the last corner to take his first ever podium finish in Formula One.
Thanks, guys. That's really cool.
That was brilliant, mate. I think we can see a smile from here. Nice job.
How long did that feeling of euphoria last after the race?
Well, it lasted for about an hour and a half before they excluded us.
Extremely disappointed, quite surprised, and we will of course appeal.
It was one of those things. We made a judgment with the fuel flow sensor. The FIA, you know, in the first Grand Prix, you know, they ruled against us.
I mean, I went basically from a massive high to a massive low, but if I'm honest with you, that disappointment stayed with me for about 24, 36 hours, and then I was just hungry and ready to go again. And I still took a lot of satisfaction out of what I did on the weekend.
I take quite a lot still from Australia, whilst of course I came out of it with 25 points less than my teammates, so I was obviously nowhere, but I think what the most important was how I bounced back from that in the next races.
Lewis Hamilton looking totally in control of this race. Lewis Hamilton wins in Malaysia.
Awesome race, Lewis, awesome race. Faultless weekend. You've done the job there, pal.
In that race I used a lot of techniques. As you probably would have seen, I used less fuel than everyone and all these different things that I had kind of learned and applied, and others hadn't, particularly my teammate hadn't done that. There was a big case study of what, you know, how the hell did I win by so far? And we got to Bahrain after that. Those things were clear and visible to my teammates. So then I had to try and figure out what else I could improve on, and he was catching up on those.
Lights out, away we go. Who's it going to be off the front row? Rosberg trying to cover Hamilton. Hamilton's got a good start though, and he's going to lead, I think, into the first corner. What a crucial getaway for Lewis Hamilton.
Yes, it was indeed very stressful.
The battle up front. Rosberg trying to come around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Oh, they almost touch.
There was maximum a centimeter at times between us.
Well, side by side. They're looking at the battle. Rosberg's just got past Lewis Hamilton. No, he hasn't. Hamilton retakes it.
That is the equivalent of a slap in the face.
They were very close to each other, and I was excited.
Has he got in front this time? Hamilton can't fend him off. Rosberg's got him. Rosberg takes the lead, but will he have to run down towards turn 4?
I love racing. In go-karts, you're swapping and changing all the time. All those maneuvers I pulled on Nico were all karting maneuvers. It was very cool.
Hamilton will try and go around the outside at turn 4, and he'll try and cut back on the exit. Wow, this is amazing racing between the two Mercedes teammates. Hamilton retakes the lead at the Bahrain Grand Prix.
This is brilliant. This is brilliant, brilliant stuff.
Oh, we've got a shunt. That's a Sauber.
Whoa, what was that?
Safety car is out. That plays the advantage to Rosberg. We've got Hamilton on the prime, Rosberg on the option. I don't see how he's going to be able to keep Rosberg behind.
Lewis is Paddy, Nico is Paddy here. There are about 10 laps left to race. Can we just make sure we bring both cars home?
Okay.
You're not quite sure whether your car is good enough. You're not quite sure whether you can continue to win races, and then suddenly you have a chance for a 1 and 2, and they fight each other so hard.
Away goes Lewis Hamilton, chased immediately by Nico Rosberg. Rosberg trying to go around the outside, can he do it? No, Hamilton will shut the door. And Rosberg going side by side with Hamilton once again, but Hamilton just able to fend him off, but it's not over yet. He'll move to the outside, he's tried this several times, and Hamilton has hung him out to dry. Oh my goodness, don't touch, they're so close! And they were told to bring the cars back in one piece. If they carry on like this, that might not happen. Oh, he's down the inside, but he's too deep this time, surely.
How is he doing this? How is he keeping Rosberg behind?
Lewis Hamilton wins the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Nice work there, Lewis. Yeah, it's all going there for a minute, mate.
Fantastic job this weekend, guys. We didn't really have the pace on this side of the garage, but still held on to it.
Bahrain was a fantastic race, and a lot of that was thanks to Mercedes saying, we will let our drivers race, and you did.
This is my way of going racing. I mean, I was a racing driver myself, and I always wanted to make sure that they can do whatever they want. And it was clear from the Mercedes politics, Toto, Paddy and myself, that from the first race on, they should race, because they are about the same level of speed and experience, and therefore we said, let them get on with it.
I remember a French journalist coming to see me right after the race and said, thank you very much for what you did for Formula One, it's really awesome. And I didn't know what he was talking about, because I was still so worried and stressed by the situation and how that's going to continue in the season. How can we, survive wheel-to-wheel racing every single race?
What did you make of that move?
Well, it was, for me, right on the limit of being hard but fair. But much more than what actually Lewis did, it was the wake-up call for Nico. That was the moment where it was like, oh, hold on, I have to really fight for this.
I strongly dislike coming second to Lewis. That's really not something I enjoy doing.
I was at the time, of course, very frustrated because should have been mine that race, but Lewis just did a great job in the battle.
What did you say to each other after the race? Can you remember?
There were swear words, so it's better I don't repeat that, but in a friendly way.
Lewis Hamilton comes through to win the Chinese Grand Prix, his third straight win of the season. We are in the closing stages of the Spanish Grand Prix, and Lewis Hamilton can see his mirrors beginning to fill ever more with his teammate Nico Rosberg. Can he get past Lewis Hamilton to take victory? What a heroic effort, what a brilliant performance by both Mercedes drivers, but it is Lewis Hamilton who takes his fourth straight win of 2014, and he beats his teammate to take the lead in the World Championship, and that psychologically was yet another blow.
We had quite some discussions after Barcelona, because the rules we all set weren't respected 100% in Barcelona. One of the rules was that we want to keep both cars in the same engine modes. And in the final laps of Barcelona, and I wouldn't say it was done consciously on purpose, but we saw that that rule was being overstepped.
And also with all my settings, I was moving them up and down, really trying to find extra time, but Nico was just generally quicker this weekend, but fortunately I was able to keep him behind.
Spain was frustrating again, yes, because just so close, but I couldn't make it stick. He had a bit of a roll also going on with like 4 wins then at the time or something, and it was important for me to bring that to an end, which I then managed to do.
Now here we go then, Rosberg. Let's see what Rosberg does. Fastest for Rosberg. What about Hamilton? Can Hamilton beat that? No, not quite this time. 59 thousandths of a second the difference on their first attempt to take this pole position.
You caused quite a lot of controversy on that Saturday.
Indeed.
Rosberg, currently fastest, but will he stay there?
Let's see what this first sector gives us. It's marginally slower.
Oh no, he's gone straight on, he's gone straight on! It'll depend on Hamilton's final lap.
Yellow, yellow, turn 5.
Is there a yellow? There is a yellow off of that area.
I think Hamilton's backed out of it.
He has.
It's all over.
He had to pass that area under yellow flags, and Rosberg has emerged as the pole winner, and he has ended that little mini sequence for Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, it was very good of him. Very good.
He got a great first lap, he was very quick there, and then second lap, I found my time in the first sector, which was going to make the difference, and then I had to bail out, so that was tough.
Of course, I'm sorry for what happened to Lewis. I didn't know where exactly he was, but once I was reversing, I did see he was coming up, so of course, yeah, that's not great, but that's the way it is.
Then having seen the data and all that kind of stuff made it a little bit harder to kind of swallow.
There was a big argument which nobody can prove right or wrong if Nico did this on purpose to destroy his qualifying lap. Nico said, no, I braked too late, and that was it. And then Lewis said, listen, you braked 10 meters too late, this is on purpose.
That was how I felt, like I could leave it. And I honestly think I had the right to feel that way.
Can you tell us exactly what happened? Just because it's you, though, huh? This is not a subject I like to go back into. No, well, it's pretty straightforward. That I was a little bit behind, I think, on my split time, so I just started to push a little bit more, because pole is everything in Monaco, and I locked up my rear wheels a little bit, braking into that corner, caught the first part, and then was looking okay, and then locked up again a second time, and then I wouldn't have made the corner anymore. So in the last moment I had to steer out to not hit the wall. That's it.
As far as I've known him now for the last 2 years, he's a straightforward guy. Nico is not somebody who would try to be underhand.
The stewards did look into the incident, and Nico was acquitted of any blame. Do you understand that?
I don't, and I still don't today.
We will never know what actually happened in that car, but that was the point when it actually deteriorated a lot.
Brilliantly driven. That qualifying session certainly made a difference, didn't it? Nico Rosberg coming through to win the Monaco Grand Prix. And second place is going to go to Lewis Hamilton. So he loses the championship lead, but still remains in touch with his teammate.
Yes! Thank you very much, everyone.
I think actually it was not so much about he didn't win, it was about the manner in which he felt he'd lost. And it was all about being sporting, and he felt that for the first time Nico had been unsporting.
First of all, you need to question whether they were ever friends. They were mates, and they went through the junior categories, but they were never in the same team at the same time, only in karting. And in karting, as a 15 or 16-year-old boy, it's different than when you compete for the Formula One World Championship.
And I've been a racing driver myself. I had the same problem with Prost when I was racing, and I understand them. I mean, they both want to win a championship. So every trick, I call it trick, they would do, I would do as well. This is what racing drivers do in this high level of competition.
But actually, the biggest celebrations that we saw in Monaco were with Marussia, because they achieved what seemed to be impossible. They put points on the board.
Actually, believe it or not, one of the absolute highlights of my season. It brought them of age, because it gave those young teams, which a lot of people were not respectful towards. I certainly am, and I believe they have a rightful place there. But Marussia's 2 points, fantastic.
Jules Bianchi really raced his heart out, and he actually gave the team an incredible amount of hope at that point.
Well, what it also shows is the star quality of Jules as a driver. You look through the history of the greats, they've always been able to outperform their car, if you like, and I think that a lot of that result was down to his driving. So it was a great moment to see the emergence of him, young Ferrari driver, and of course Marussia getting the first points.
Mercedes have been dominating the season. Was there a sense that they were going to win every race?
Well, they looked unstoppable. I mean, they'd won every race up until that point, and we'd had good races in Monaco, we'd been competitive on the podium in Barcelona, but they'd always had that amount up their sleeves. And so Montreal, dominated by straights, was the circuit we least thought that we would be competitive at.
Hamilton on the attack.
Hamilton Hamilton getting closer and closer to the back of Nico Rosberg's car. Hamilton much closer. Lock up. Rosberg will have to surely give that up.
So no penalty for Nico.
Lost power. I've got no power, guys. He's still not there anymore.
Okay, Nico, we're trying to solve it. We believe your teammate has the same problem.
They're both not running at full pace, 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower, but they're still racing.
In hindsight, maybe you could say it would have been better just to back off and cruise around in second. But I didn't.
The race leader comes in. This has got to be a chance for Hamilton to take the lead. Will he get out in front of Rosberg?
The thing was, I was just so close to winning. I knew I was quickest and came out from the pit stop and I was ahead and I was so excited, and then the damn brakes failed.
Hamilton is out ahead of his teammate.
Hamilton goes wide at the hairpin.
Hamilton very deep there. It is Rosberg who got in front. Hamilton's coming back at him. Oh, Hamilton goes straight through and on. Oh, and Hamilton slows down.
Brakes have failed.
Hamilton's championship hopes, well, they're going to take a big dent from this.
I'm pretty sure that I definitely played a part in the car stopping, and, you know, yeah, we lost those points.
Your teammate has a problem. Most important, you finish now, looking after the brakes.
The team said you drove with a lot of intelligence.
That's nice to hear. It was a challenge, just because it's such an unusual situation, you know, not having any electronic power on the straight, so being very slow, and then the guys, a whole train of guys behind.
Still Nico Rosberg controlling this race. Can he hold on?
As soon as I saw him, I was like, you know, the heart rate started coming up. I was like, we could be on here. You know, all I was thinking was, if I can pass Sergio, then, you know, I'm quick enough.
Ricciardo goes into second, or does he? Because he's gone too wide, but he gets it back. Whoa, now Ricciardo will go chasing after Nico Rosberg. And here's a chance from Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo goes past Rosberg to take the lead in the Canadian Grand Prix. We are on the far limit. Oh, Perez, Matinee, Vettel just missed. Oh my goodness.
They're both okay by the looks of it. Daniel Ricciardo gets to savour the last lap of winning his first ever Grand Prix.
Nobody can overtake you. You're going to win the race.
Daniel Ricciardo takes his first ever Grand Prix win. He wins in Canada. Red Bull are back.
It was a while since I'd done this, you know, a few years since I won a race, and to then finally do it in F1 was pretty special.
Sense of relief in many respects that it wasn't going to be a winless season for us, and that considering where we'd come from, you know, only a few months earlier, you know, my word, have we turned it around.
We've been admiring this boy, Daniel Ricciardo, for some time, and to him emerge like this, not just beating his world champion teammate, but winning this race, was huge joy for the Red Bull team.
By the time we got to Montreal, there was a pattern already starting to emerge that Daniel had the upper hand of the two drivers. Some of his races in Bahrain, in China, in Monaco, Barcelona, you know, he'd driven brilliantly well. So it was no great surprise that the guy that delivered that winning trophy for us was actually Daniel.
I think he's emerged as probably the find of recent time in motor racing.
Oh, Hamilton's lost it. He's not set a lap time, and this is crucial in terms of his World Championship hopes. Felipe Massa. So he's got fastest of all, Felipe Massa. Has he taken pole position? What about Rosberg?
He's backed out of it, Ben. He's nowhere in the middle sector.
And Williams have not only got a pole position, they've got the entire front row. This is unbelievable.
Amazing. Really emotional day for us, for me, for Williams.
Last year, everyone would have seen how disappointed everybody was, you know, from race to race. So, you know, to come into this year and to take that front row lockout was extraordinary for everybody, and it was such great reward for everybody.
You know, it was one of the moments that wasn't fully expected, and therefore it was just really nice. I think it's, if you look at the images of that, it's a long time since I've got that excited on the pit wall.
The championship leading Mercedes cars start down in 3rd place for Rosberg, but here's Hamilton, and he's all the way down in 9th place. Lights out, away we go, and the two front row men, Felipe Massa getting away well, but it's an excellent start from Nico Rosberg.
Hamilton, he's made a great start.
He's made a fantastic start. He's in 5th place already, I think, Lewis Hamilton. He's having a go at Fernando Alonso. Oh, and he goes straight through. 1 lap over. Hamilton is 1 position behind Nico Rosberg. Would you have believed that?
Couldn't believe that, because I didn't think I would ever see him again in the race, because I was sure that it's going to take him ages to come through.
I think when we look back now, we could have maybe been a bit more aggressive to try and really stay ahead of Mercedes, but we didn't have podium yet that season, and we just really wanted to maybe be a bit more cautious to try and get a good points with both cars, and that's what we did.
Victory for Nico Rosberg here in Austria from Lewis Hamilton, who just backs off across the line. 3rd place goes to Valtteri Bottas, his first ever podium in Formula One. Conditions are going to make life difficult, and it could change the way that we see cars running throughout this session.
Every year going back to Silverstone, I know how much support there is there. The previous year we'd lost the race and the tyre blew up. I lost it for the fans, so I really wanted to do it for them this year.
So what has Hamilton done here? Has he got a good lap? It's fastest at the moment. And it looks good for Hamilton. It looks good for him to be on pole position.
Then it started raining more towards the end of qualifying, and we all thought, okay, that's it.
It's pretty slippery out here.
The beginning of the lap was quite poor, and on my delta it tells you what time you're doing, and it was down quite a lot compared to my previous laps. So I was thinking, there's no way. So I backed out.
The session is coming to an end. It doesn't look as though there's going to be any changes here.
I remember even having a discussion with my engineers, and some of them were saying it's just a waste of time, why go out? And then I said, what do we lose by going out, you know? Because Michael Jordan once said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So might as well take the shot.
Hulkenberg's gone fastest, and the times are coming down. Vettel's gone quickest. The last part of the lap is really dry. Button's gone second, Rosberg goes fastest.
The last corners were much drier, and so I made up like 3 seconds in the last 3 corners and put it on pole, and that was, yeah, awesome result.
Where's Hamilton? Where is Hamilton? He's in the pits. He's 6th. Hamilton is 6th.
Afterwards, I was just horrified that I'd allowed that to happen. And that was really difficult, you know, because I really felt like I let everyone down.
You're obviously incredibly disappointed. Did you expect the circuit would dry out so fast?
Obviously not, no. I don't really have anything to say to you at the moment. So.
Ever since I was a kid, it would take a long time to get over things. Years ago in 2008, I had a really bad race from pole position in Fuji, and I didn't come out of my hotel room for 3 days. I didn't speak to anyone. I was that angry at myself. Now I've just learned a technique of just getting by things, you know. You can't do anything about the past, so don't let it linger. All I can do is shape the future. And came back the next day with my dad and my brother, and the fans were there in full support. So I was like, well, we win and we lose together, so let's go out and do it.
Lewis Hamilton's going to start in 6th place here at Silverstone. My goodness, if he's going to win the British Grand Prix, it's going to be an amazing race. Lights out, away we go. Great start from Hamilton. Hamilton going around the outside of Sebastian Vettel, gets a bit of a squeeze, but I think he's made the move stick.
Okay, Lewis, it's hammer time.
Hamilton's on a charge. This is fantastic, reminiscent of the Mansell era.
Hamilton now on Magnussen. Is he going to give him the space? But he goes wide, and Hamilton takes the place. So Hamilton is up into 3rd position. Look how quickly he's catching Jenson Button. Closing up to the 2nd place car, the McLaren. The 2 British drivers go side by side. Hamilton dives down the inside and takes 2nd place from Jenson Button.
It was unreal. It was just unreal, I think. Seeing the flags, seeing the roar, I mean, I'd never in a million years thought I'd have that kind of support.
A massive cheer has gone up all around Silverstone.
Okay, Lewis, you're the fastest man on track.
took over 2 seconds out of his teammate on just the one lap.
He's clearly got a problem.
Problem on the upshift at turn 8.
And Lewis Hamilton leads the British Grand Prix.
Trying to get a gear.
Rosberg is out, and Hamilton has it all to himself. Hamilton is going to win the British Grand Prix. He wins for the 2nd time.
England! What a great feeling, guys. I'm sorry about yesterday. I couldn't be happier.
I think probably in the back of my mind I was thinking back to the days of the greats when Nigel was racing around there and when they were running on the track and when he had the flag in the car and when he picked up Ayrton one time and those kind of things, and just thinking, wow, I'm kind of a part of creating that history.
Enjoy the moment, Lewis. You've earned it. It's a very, very special day for Lewis Hamilton.